All right, guys, today I want to talk about the in-ground sprinkler setup that I installed to water the flower beds around the perimeter of my house. Now, there are different kits that you can buy, but Rainbird sells all of their parts and accessories a la carte, and you can design and build your own system exactly to the specifications that you need. So I'm going to quickly run through all of the parts and pieces that I use to build my system, and then I'll show you what it looks like installed. First, I've got this manual watering timer from Orbit, model number 62056. And this is very basic. It's on the lower end of the cost spectrum, but it does the job. To set it, you set the clock using the plus and minus is what you use to set. So it's currently 12:21 p.m. I can pick the start time. I had it set for 5 a.m. last. I have it set for 5 minutes because my flowers don't need a lot of water, and I just want to put enough on to keep them happy and not drown them. I've done that in the past. How often? I had it set to water every 3 days. That was during a drought period that we were having, and it was in the mid to high 90s every day, and I wanted to make sure that there was enough water. Typically, I do every 5 to 7 days. My plants all have a once a week watering rating. So that's how you set it up. I have this going to the spigot on the back corner of my house. Running out of the timer, I've got this hose connection, female end. So this screws to the timer like a garden hose would, same fitting. And then this end pushes onto this 1/2-inch supply tubing, like this. I'm not going to push it on because then I can't get it off. But it just pushes on and the connection's done. No other fancy tools are necessary. This 1/2-inch supply line is also from Rainbird. It's model number T63-100. This is 100 feet of line. I bought this just recently for another project, but this is the same line that I used to install my current system, I believe 5 or 6 summers ago. So this tubing runs along the back of my house, and when I get to the corner, I use a 90-degree elbow for 1/2-inch tubing. This came in a 4-pack, so I used 2. So this turns the corner down the side of my house, runs to the front corner, and then turns and goes around the entire front of my house. I don't have anything on the side of my house that needs water, but I don't have a spigot in the front of my house that's accessible without running something over my front stairs. So I ran this line all the way around the back of the house, and that way one timer can control all of my sprinklers at the same time. Now to cut the line, I have just been using this PVC pipe cutter. This is, for like white plumbing pipe or black plumbing pipe, but it's nice and sharp and it will cut right through the tubing. You could use a utility knife, or you could probably use side cutters too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a perfect cut. It's just what I have been using. So when you get the tubing to the very end of your run, you need to close the pipe at the end. And I think they have a couple different options, but the one I see the most and the one that I used is this end closure. And I have a spare. You can see that it's just 2 rings that are fused together, and you slide it over the tube in one end, and then you kink the hose and slide it over the far end into the second hole. And this will keep the supply line kinked, and then no water can come out the end. So there are many different options when it comes to sprinklers and emitters and all the different types of ways to deliver water with these systems. I have 2 different types in my setup that I'll talk about. The first type is this micro spray. You can see it has this knob here that controls the amount of water that can come out the top. And the top, this is a 180-degree spray pattern. So the water will come out, and you can see it'll deflect it. It'll shoot out the top of this, hit the very top, and then spray in a 180-degree circle And according to the packaging, it should shoot roughly 10 feet in any direction, 180 degrees. That's the max. You can adjust it using this knob again to all the way down to off. So from off to 10 feet radius. So about 20 to 21 feet in diameter. It can cover a significant amount of area, and it puts out a good amount of water. And it comes attached with this. It's flexible, but it's not as flexible as the hose. This is the riser, and it's on this stand that is a stake that you can step into the ground. Just push that down as far as you want. And then this is adjustable. It can slide, so you can get it higher or lower, and you can take it off for easy adjustment. And it just snaps in there. And then it comes with this tubing to connect to your 1/2-inch tubing, and you can run it through here to kind of keep it wrangled. And you can cut this down if you don't need this whole length. It has this barbed end pre-installed, and this is what will go into your supply line. So what you would do is buy this puncture tool. They come in different colors, black, purple, depends on the store, I guess. But this one's also from Rainbird. And so you just push it right into the tubing. And it creates a nice hole. And then you take your barbed end and stick it right in there. And you can see, it's hard to see down inside there, but it creates a nice seal, and the water will now come back through this tube and out of your sprinkler head. Now, if you've got this hole that you just punctured and you just realized, I don't want a sprinkler in that location, they sell these, they call them goof plugs. And what they are is just a dummy plug that will pop right into that hole and seal it off. So it's empty. So you just take it. Takes a little bit of effort, but you can get it in there, and now that hole will be sealed pretty well. Maybe not 100%, but it's not going to come spraying out. If there's a drip or something, it's not the end of the world, I don't think. Now, if you need to extend the length of the tube that comes with your sprinkler, they sell this just roll of 1/4-inch tubing, and you can attach that right with the exact same barbed end that came with the sprinkler. You just push that on. That will extend the line. Then, once you've connected this to your line, you run this as long as you need and then cut it off. You'll need additional couplings, which are just like the ones that come on the sprinkler, but you'll need it for the other end. And then you just push, not the sharp end, but the barbed end. You push that into your supply line and then puncture your hole in your supply tubing and push that in, and now you've connected the sprinkler. The other type of sprinkler I personally use is called a bubbler, and this one they actually call a shrubler, and this will shoot like a fan. So this goes into the ground, and this part is sticking straight up, and the more you turn this to the left, the wider the disbursement of water will be, and each of these little indentations indicates where the water's coming out. And so it just shoots water in little streams, and you can do it. I mean, if you turn it all the way to the right, it'll be off. And then if you turn it just a little bit, I mean, it just the littlest bit of water comes out, and you can go all the way up to, I think it's like a 2-foot circle, 2 or 3 foot circle. I don't have the package for these anymore. It came in a 4-pack, and this barb was attached to the side right here. You can't see, So you just break that off, so you don't have, if you're only using these, you don't have to buy additional barbs. But it did not come with supply line, this 1/4-inch tubing, so you have to buy the tubing to use these bubblers. They just came in a 4-pack in a package like this. So those are the 2 types of sprinklers I use. I also bought these inline couplers and tees for my next project, but that's for another day. Rainbird sells some stakes that are similar to this. They're more rounded on the top. I found these stakes at Christmas time. They were for like Christmas decorations, inflatables that people put in their yard, and they sold like 100 of them for $5 or something. So they're super cheap. They rust easily, but they're way cheaper than the Rainbird ones that I found that I had purchased originally. And when you're running these in your garden, you kind of want to stake the line down because it has a tendency to do whatever it wants. So you stake these down, and then I cover mine with mulch, and you can't even tell that they're there. All right, let's go take a look at what I've got set up in my garden currently. All right, so as I've mentioned before, I installed this in-ground sprinkler system for my garden about 5 or 6 years ago. Can't remember exactly. And I just want to go through each part from start to finish, how I installed it, and maybe you'll come up with ideas for your own custom watering system. So the first part of the system is a timer. And now I've got this Orbit manual timer that runs my in-ground sprinklers for the flower bed. But I also have this Beehive Wi-Fi timer that I could use, but I use this one instead for running the sprinklers I use to water my grass. But before that, because these valves shut off very quickly, like the valve in your washing machine, they can create water hammer. And a water hammer is a vibration that can be sent back through your pipes, and if it's able to do that enough times, it could cause a burst pipe, which you don't want, obviously. So to prevent that, you can buy a water hammer arrestor. Now, you may have seen these on your washing machine. A lot of people have them. Inside is water about up to here, and then there's a diaphragm, a rubber diaphragm, and then air. And when the vibration happens, when this valve shuts off quickly, it shoots the vibration up, but that diaphragm will absorb that vibration, or at least most of it. Now, before I used this valve would shut off and you'd hear my pipes rattling down in the basement. But since I installed this, I don't have any problems. So I've got a 45-degree adapter because I have to get away from this pipe that the previous owners put in, otherwise my manifold wouldn't fit. So I've got 45 degree going into my water hammer arrestor, and then I've got a 4-way manifold so I can connect 4 different hoses. Then I have my timer that runs the sprinklers. I have it currently off because we've been getting rain and my flowers only need to be watered once a week. And then I have the garden hose adapter, which screws to the timer, and then the supply line, the 1/2-inch supply line, comes out of here and it goes that way. We're on the back corner of my house. Now that hose goes behind these bushes, and here I have a plant to transplant here, but I haven't done it yet. I had a sprinkler right here, but I used one of the dummy plugs, one of the goof plugs, to plug it, and then it just continues on down. And then I got this Hosta plant, and I've got a sprinkler right here. This is a 180-degree spray head, and it just rains on this Hosta. It kind of gets this boxwood bush over here and this bush over here, but mostly just the Hosta. Going around this corner of my house, I've got a 90-degree, and these are one of the stakes I was talking about. These are sold by Rainbird, but the ones I got for Christmas decorations were way cheaper. So I got the 90-degree corner here, and then it runs along the side of my house, under the windowsills. You can't even see it here. Still going under the windowsills, behind the downspout. And then I pulled it up here, another 90, and this is a valve that I never use, but I have anyway if I need it. And then the supply line runs all the way down my bed along the front of my house, and it turns, and then it terminates here, and I have one of those that helps keep it kinked at the end so that the water won't come out. Now coming back to the left corner of the front of my house, I've got these begonias here, and I water them with 3 90-degree micro sprays that spray water in that direction and that direction, creating a square. Then I've got this one that goes that way and that way, and then I've got another one over here that covers everything else. It's kind of a ways back so it can cover more ground. Because I have this tree in the middle, it made it difficult to how to position the sprinklers. If I didn't have the tree in the middle, I could use a 360-degree micro spray and get the whole circle, which would have been perfect. But I love this tree, so it stays. Next, down the line, I've got this bubbler that waters this boxwood. I don't use these very often anymore because I had a boxwood in the middle and I drowned it. And I think it didn't need to have as much water given to it every week as I was giving it. So I have this turned off on both of my boxwoods. Then I have these daylilies that the deer attacked this morning. So I have no buds, just a couple left. Unbelievable. And I've got a 180-degree head here to water these daylilies. It also sprays far enough to hit this hosta that I transplanted that is not looking great. And then I've got another set of daylilies with a 180-degree head. My yard enforcer finally caught the deer, so it didn't get all the buds on this one. And then behind this bush, this also a boxwood, I've got another bubbler that I am currently not using. And then over here, I've got some more daylilies, a different variety, and in between them, I've got one of those bubblers. So we're going to turn them on and I'll show you what they all look like. So I turn my timer from off to auto. I'm going to turn on manual. I'm going to set it for 10 minutes. Now the water's on. First things first, turn that water on for real. This is what the 180-degree head looks like. It's just giving some nice water to my hosta here. Now up front, you can see I've got this 90-degree head, and it's just kind of raining in this direction. And I've got this one over here that's getting everything up front, and then that one in the back is spraying out pretty far, that whole back half. Everything's getting just enough water. Now back behind this bush, I don't have this on, but I'll show you what it looks like. I moved all this mulch back because I have another project, and I need to dig some of this mulch out because it's building up and there's too much. But you can see how that sprays. Then I got another 180-degree head here, watering my daylilies, suffering hosta. This was a transplant that is not going well. Another 180-degree, watering these daylilies. And there's a bubbler back there that's not running. I haven't put down my mulch yet until I finish my current project of sprinklers. And then I've got this bubbler watering these new daylilies I planted this year. This Asiatic lily might not survive. The chipmunks keep digging them up, but it's the only bulb that's left, so I planted it here to see if it'll survive. You can see I can block the sun. I can adjust how far this sprays. and it'll spray about a 2.5, 3 foot circle it could reach. I just keep it adjusted enough to hit the plants that I want it to hit. And that'll do a fine job soaking everything. So guys, that's just a quick and dirty of my personal customized sprinkler system. I hope maybe you got some ideas for yourself. So the reason that I bought this brand new roll of 100 feet of in-ground supply line for sprinklers is I want to semi-permanently install my Yard Enforcer motion sprinklers. Currently, they are run off of garden hoses in my front and backyard, just one in each, the front and back. And I don't like seeing the green hoses on my driveway and in my flower bed, so I thought I could bury this line and run this hard plastic right to the sprinkler and run it under the mulch, and you would never see it, and it would at least sort of be out of the way. And I definitely wouldn't have a hose across my front sidewalk and driveway anymore. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to use one of these hose adapters on the end, and this will go into the 4-way shutoff valve that I've got. And then this tubing will run all the way around the house to my front steps. And then wherever I want to have a Yard Enforcer, I could add just the 2 I've got now, or I could add more in the future. I'm just going to tee off and then run a separate line to each sprinkler off of the tee, and then it's going to run to one of these adapters again. Now you'll notice I have a problem because the end that goes into the Yard Enforcer from a garden hose is the male end, and this is the female end. So I needed a way to adapt that, and I snagged these male-to-male adapters off of Amazon so that I can achieve that setup. So it comes with 2 adapters, and these 2 adapters were cheaper than 1 adapter at the local big box store. So 2 adapters, and it comes with 2 garden hoses if you need them. So I just screw this onto one end, screw that into my Yard Enforcer, and now I've made the connection. This gets buried and no more garden hoses. So that's my next step, is to go get this set up. Now you'll notice I dug up my sprinkler system for my flowers because I'm going to run this in the exact same pattern, and then I'm going to zip tie this to the existing line to keep them together. So I've got this Yard Enforcer in my backyard, and I had a garden hose running there behind the bush and then over to my manifold, and then my front yard one, I've got it connected to this spigot that's on the side of the house with the driveway, and it just runs in front of my stairs to the Yard Enforcer. So you can see why I want to get rid of those. All right, so I got everything run and connected. Now all I got to do is turn the water on, and the lines should be pretty full. There's probably some air at the end, but I ran it from the hose adapter on this first part of my manifold, and I came straight out and then quickly went into a 90 so it wouldn't kink, making this turn. I redid this one for my sprinkler also because it was kinking. So it comes out, goes straight behind my hose reel, behind this bush, then it follows the house. And I teed it off right here. I gave it some slack as it goes to my first Yard Enforcer. Give it some motion. There goes the air. And I was able to get rid of these 2 hoses. Not in my garden anymore. That sounds terrible. Hasn't been, ooh! She got hit right in the back. So it follows all the way around the back of my house. Makes the turn here. Follows the existing sprinkler line under my windowsills to the corner, and then it follows all the way down the flower bed, and then it turns, and this is the sprinkler line for the flowers, and this goes to the Yard Enforcer. Now I just need to finally mulch the bed to bury all of these supply lines, and the front yard will be done. Well, it's finally mulch day, and so I decided to get bagged mulch this year because I need less than 1 yard, and the delivery charge alone costs more than a yard of mulch. So I'm not always a fan of the bagged mulch, but I picked up 10 bags and we're gonna get this spread out in the front flower bed. Well guys, here's the final product. Finally got the mulch down. Got the yard enforcer here. The piping is completely buried. Can't believe I didn't do that sooner. It looks so much nicer without a hose going across my sidewalk. These are the daylilies I put in this year. The Asiatic lilies that I tried replanting to make them look nicer. Chipmunks dug up every one of them and killed them. So that's all I got left are these 3 new daylilies. These are about to bloom again. These 2 have not bloomed since I planted them, but they're gonna look nice when they do. The fawns like to come behind the sprinkler right here on the sidewalk and chew on that one, and the sprinkler can't see them. Boxwood's looking good. Shape came out nice. Daylilies are struggling. They were too dry and then too wet. We've had a drought followed by a lot of rain, and they're starting to come back. You can see they're blooming. Here's my big problem. This is the hosta I transplanted. It is not looking great. Combined with a bad watering situation, whether I'm doing too much or too little, I can't tell. On top of the fawns know that that's yard enforcer over here is off during the day when the mailman's going to be coming, so I don't get him sprayed. They come in here and they chew these all the way down. Now I'm going to show a picture here of its brother that's in my backyard that is thriving and looked the same as it. This one and that one looked the same last year, and this is what it should have looked like this year. But because of my transplant issues and watering issues and fawn issues, it looks terrible. Some more daylilies looking the same. I'm trying to get all this brown out, but it's hard because when you're raking it out with your fingers, they call it combing, you end up pulling off these buds, and I want as many flowers as possible. So then we got another boxwood, almost ready to be trimmed again, all the new growth on top. And then my begonias. They look so nice with this brown mulch. This is the angle you get when you drive down my street from the main road. This is what everybody sees entering the neighborhood, the nice stripes. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the series. I had a lot of fun filming it. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you can teach me something. Please go ahead and drop me a comment with any questions or any suggestions. I'd appreciate it, and I'll get back to you. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And also you can subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.